I'm going to tie a light Cahill, and to start off I've got a size 10 dry fly hook, larger than I'd fish with, but hopefully it shows up better here on camera. And the thread that I'm going to be using is an 8/0 light Cahill as well. So I'll just start off with my wraps to get it good and secure, and I can pull off that excess. And I want to bring the thread to about maybe the 2/3 marker on my hook shank here. And the wing that I'm going to use, I'm going to tie in an upright wing, and I like to use mallard flank. I've got this in a couple of different shades of yellow. This is probably the brightest that I have, and it's going to serve as my upright wing. So I'll take off a section of this mallard flank, and I really like the barring of this. You can see it's pretty dramatic. So I'm just cleaning up the bottom, and I'm taking off a section here that's going to serve as my wing. And I find that I try to overemphasize it, so I'm taking more than what you think you would need to tie in. So I've got my clump, and I'm going to take it just beyond the eye. And the further past the eye, the farther up it's going to be once you extend it. So I'll make wraps to get that in and secure, and trim off the back, and then finish up the back with my wraps. Now I'll stand this wing up, so I'll bring it up to the point where I want to stand it and create a thread dam just in front of it, and that'll really help keep everything nice and upright. And when I'm happy with that, then I'll just advance the thread beyond that. And now I can tie in my tail, and for this I'm going to use a grizzly hackle, again just to stick with the kind of the barred theme. And I'll take some of the longer fibers, and I'll milk maybe 8 to 10 fibers that I'll pull off and make sure the tips are aligned, and want to make it about the length of the hook shank, so I can just tie that in, get a sense as to where it is. And when I tie it into the side, the thread's gonna want to rotate it to the top. So it looks pretty good there. These fibers are short enough, I can just tie right in. Alright, once that's tied in, then I can take my dubbing, and this I'm just going to use a real light cream dubbing, and I'm going to build up that nice taper on the body just behind the upright wing. I'll turn my corner here, tighten it up a bit. And one more pinch should be about right. And for now I'm just going to dub behind the wing. And I'm going to be tying in my hackle here. Now I'll use a dun colored hackle, and I'll just match it to the size of the hook. So if I'm tying a size 10, I'll get a size 10 hackle. And if I found that if I overshoot or undershoot, I'd rather have a size smaller hackle than a size bigger. So I'll tie this into the side, a couple wraps behind, and then finish off the stem here in front. And once that's good and in, I can take and cut that off. Now, since I'm here behind the eye, I'm going to dub it back, and so I'll take that same cream dubbing And I'll just start dubbing that back and finish the body. Now I can wrap my hackles through. So I'm going to do about 3 turns behind. And 2 or 3 turns in front. And then I can tie that off. I'll pull everything back and start to make my thread head. And at this point I feel confident that that's not going anywhere. I'm going to snip it off. And again, if you notice, anytime I'm working around hackle, I want to make sure I don't cut it off. So instead of making a cutting motion, I'll just run with a fixed point here. I'll just run that any material that I want to trim off through the blade and let it do the cutting motion instead of running the risk of chopping some fibers. So back to tying in my thread head here. Just building it up, and when I'm happy with it I can come back through and do my whip finishes. And now I can trim that off. Now I will have to cut it around the hackle just to clean up any fibers around the eye. And a drop of cement to finish off the head. And just kind of let that run down. And now you've got some options, as I showed with the Blue Wing Olive. I like to trim those off to let them ride a little bit lower in the water. For this, I'm going to leave as is. So this will be a higher riding fly with this hackle kept on the bottom. If you want to lower it, you can just clean off that bottom part and it'll sit lower in the water column. Take a look at it from the top, from the bottom. And that is a light Cahill.